Part 3. In this part, you will hear some short talks. After each talk, you will answer some questions about it. Choose the best answer to the question from the choices printed in the test booklet, and mark your answer on the separate answer sheet. You should mark A, B, C, or D. There are 17 questions in Part 3. The talks and questions will not be repeated. If you want to, you may take notes in your booklet as you listen. Please listen carefully. Now, turn the page. Numbers 34 to 37.
Listen to the director of a company.
Hi, everyone. Before I ask Michael to update us on our financial picture, I wanted to make an announcement. As you've probably noticed, if you've been walking around in the halls today, the renovation project on the west side of the building is now underway. They'll be taking out the west wall and constructing an additional wing on that side of the building, which should give us lots more space and allow us to fit everyone more comfortably. I'm sure we're all looking forward to having the additional room. In the meantime, though, we'll be dealing with this construction for about 4 months. Those of you on the other side of the building probably won't be affected much by it. But for the people nearer the construction, there's going to be some noise and also interruptions. There may be times when you'll be asked to let workers into your offices so they can check the electrical wiring. I know that may be frustrating, so let's just try to keep in mind that this project needs to happen for the greater good of the office. And of course, we'll understand if you aren't able to get as much work done on those days when it's especially noisy. If it becomes a real problem, we'll set up some temporary workstations in the conference room away from the noise. Next, we're going to move on to Michael's quarterly report. He has some excellent news for us. Michael?
Number 34.
What is the speaker talking about?
Number 35.
Who will be most affected by the information?
Number 36.
Why does the speaker mention the conference room?
Number 37.
What will probably happen next?
Numbers 38 to 41. Listen to a presentation in a chemistry class.
Good afternoon. As part of Career Exploration Week, your chemistry teacher has asked me to speak to you all about my job as a food laboratory analyst. Basically, I perform controlled tests on food products to determine how long they remain acceptable to be eaten or edible. When I first decided to study chemistry, I didn't know I was going to work as a food scientist. It was just something I fell into, almost by accident. But I really enjoy my job, and I'm excited to tell you about it today. The great thing about studying chemistry is that you're acquiring valuable mathematical and analytical skills that can be applied to many different industries. Some people who major in chemistry in college end up working as chemists, but many others end up becoming pharmacists, doctors, or engineers. I know you'll be learning about many potential career opportunities throughout the course of the week, but I hope my presentation will show you something interesting you can do with chemistry that you haven't thought of. I also want to briefly mention my company's summer science program that provides hands-on opportunities to learn about chemistry and how it relates to food. I've left some flyers by the door, so please grab one on your way out if you're interested in learning more about it. Now, to begin my presentation, I'd like to show some pictures of the lab where I work. They should give you an idea of what my working environment is like.
Number 38. Why are pharmacists, doctors, and engineers mentioned? Number 39. According to the speaker, what can listeners do as they leave? Number 40. What will the speaker probably do next? Number 41. What does the speaker mean when she says,
It was just something I fell into, almost by accident.
Numbers 42 to 46. Listen to part of a radio program.
Tonight is the start of Daylight Saving Time, also known as DST. This means we'll be moving our clocks ahead 1 hour, giving us an extra hour of daylight all summer. Many are now arguing that Daylight Saving Time should be used year-round due to its supposed economic benefits. When DST originated in the mid-1900s, supporters said that it would reduce energy consumption because when people arrived home from work, they wouldn't turn on lights since it was still bright outside. This, in fact, is true. But something wasn't anticipated at the time: the rise of home air conditioning. Home air conditioning is now common in the United States. So nowadays, while people still aren't turning lights on when they get home, they are running their air conditioners, which use much more power. Economists have confirmed this by studying DST in the state of Indiana. For years, not all parts of Indiana used DST. Eventually, the government decided the entire state would use Daylight Saving Time. Therefore, it was easy to compare the before and after power usage of the areas where DST was being implemented for the first time. The economists found that energy usage actually went up after Daylight Saving Time was used. So it turns out that DST doesn't provide many people with an economic benefit. However, people do enjoy having more daylight after work to be outside. The value of that is hard to measure. You can't really put a price on spending a few hours in the park with your family on a weekday evening.
Number 42. What is the speaker mainly talking about? Number 43. Who might get the most economic benefit from Daylight Saving Time? Number 44. What did the Indiana study show? Number 45. What is the speaker's attitude about Daylight Saving Time? Number 46. What does the speaker mean when he says,
But something wasn't anticipated at the time?
Numbers 47 to 50. Listen to a professor speaking to a class.
Today we're going to talk about how birds sleep. As you're already aware, there's a huge variety of birds on the planet, and you'd be correct to assume that they don't all exhibit the same sleeping behavior. The first sleeping behavior that I want to discuss is sleeping while flying. Yes, there are actually several species of bird that do this. The species for this behavior that we're going to focus on today is the frigate bird. Frigate birds are a large type of seabird. They're about as big as a chicken, but they have really long, slender wings, which they use to fly incredible distances, often out across the ocean. They're a lot more comfortable in the air than on land. Their feet are very small and not very useful in getting them around. Their ease of being in the air extends to their ability to actually sleep while flying. The logistics of studying this is quite a nightmare. But researchers in Panama created a brilliant little device that they call a sleep logger, which they attach to the birds and use to measure both the bird's brainwaves and its use of its muscles to accelerate. I'm no expert on the device, so we're very fortunate to have a guest lecturer, Dr. Jennifer Baker, come in this Wednesday to tell us more about it. Some of you may know Dr. Baker. She's doing a postdoc fellowship here, and she spent a summer working in Panama on this research.
Number 47. What is the talk mainly about? Number 48. What does the speaker say about the research he is discussing? Number 49. Why is Dr. Baker going to speak to the students? Number 50. Listen to part of the talk again, then answer the question.
The first sleeping behavior that I want to discuss is sleeping while flying. Yes, there are actually several species of bird that do this.
Why does the speaker say,
Yes, there are actually several species of bird that do this.
End of the listening test.